a trio of Star Wars portraits. Starting off with Han Solo, portrayed by Harrison Ford. I started these portraits by creating a rather quick sketch showing the rough head shape and added lines indicating where the eyes and the centre of the face were. Sometimes I keep building on the initial sketch, but here I desaturated the sketch layer and painted over it. This approach lets me avoid any thick outlines which I'll later need to paint over or erase, and instead I can focus on the shape of the shadows and the darker areas of the portrait. I wanted to paint a portrait miniseries, and as I've always loved Star Wars, I thought it would be apt to paint the three main characters. All of the portraits are meant to be based around Star Wars: A New Hope, but as Han Solo's reference image is from a promo image, it's quite hard to tell if it's from that era or not, because he barely changes between the three original films. While Han Solo was the first portrait I painted in this series, I ended up revisiting it after the other two were done, as I found a few inconsistencies and I wanted it to work better with the other two. Next up is Princess Leia, portrayed by Carrie Fisher. For most of my limited colour palette portraits, I've used around 5 colours, but often no more than 2 or 3. However, I decided to change things up in this series, as I wanted to create more interest in the imagery. Therefore, I used warm colours like dark purple, reddish brown, red, orange and a creamy yellow, which can appear even warmer when paired with dark blue, dusky blue and light blue. When working with a limited colour palette, I always try to paint one colour per layer, but that doesn't mean that each colour only gets to have one layer, as I tend to add additional layers for finer details. But this is just how I prefer to work. There are plenty of other ways to work with layers. Some people prefer working on one layer, which is much closer to working traditionally, while others might use hundreds of layers. It's all down to your own preference. I've painted Princess Leia on several occasions, but very rarely with this hairdo from the throne room scene of Star Wars: A New Hope. To me, this hairdo really helps to state that she's a real princess, even if her home planet got destroyed. Should I have said spoiler? Nah, the film's been out for over 43 years. And finally, we have Luke Skywalker, portrayed by Mark Hamill. When I think of Luke Skywalker in Star Wars: A New Hope, one of the images which always springs to mind is the scene where he's looking out over the farm with the 2 suns setting in the distance. But I believe I've used that reference image before, so I opted to go for an image with a similar expression. All these portraits were painting using just one brush. It's fine enough to let me paint finer lines and details, but it also allows me to add texture to the shaded areas, which again creates more colour variation. What's really fun about this series is that I'm using the same colour palette throughout. But with the lighting being different in the references, I have to vary the quantity of each colour to best suit the image at hand. My plan is to see if I can use this colour palette for different skin tones, even if the result won't be 100% true to the reference image, as this colour palette is definitely better suited for warmer skin tones, but that doesn't mean that it won't work. Thank you so much for watching. For more videos like this, check out my YouTube channel. And for more of my work, visit my social media accounts.